Oh, it might help if my mic is on. The so we got the try to restart the show here. The Bengals get rolled by the Eagles. The Browns come out and eke out a victory. Um, the Packers just get by the Jaguars, and then the Colts had some interesting stuff go on in that game. But one of the most interesting games of the weekend is the Jalen Daniels Hail Mary pass. What a play! The Commanders are looking like they are for real, but not to bury the lead too much. We'll go over some interesting scores from this past weekend and look forward to some of the bigger games coming on this weekend. Um, for some of the people that out there that do not didn't see it. Penn State ends up um, sliding past Wisconsin. But for the Buckeye fans out there, one of the bigger questions is that do we have do we have a game time decision coming out for Drew Aller? Um, this could be interesting. A lot of people aren't, really paying attention to it. But if Penn State doesn't have their starting quarterback, I get it; they're playing at home, but um, that is a storyline to take a look at. Texas Vandy, Texas squeezes out a win. Ewers 3 touchdowns, 288. I said earlier in the year. They have an Arch Manning problem in Texas. A lot of people don't want to acknowledge that, but I think they have a huge Arch Manning problem, and if Quinn struggles down the stretch, it's going to get weird down there in Austin. Just in my opinion. Moving forward, Miami, uh, they keep rolling. A lot of people want to say what they want to say about the Hurricanes, but they keep winning. So at some point, you're going to have to acknowledge what Miami is doing. At some point, moving forward here, Miami undefeated. So in Florida State, it's two different fan bases right now. Florida State outhouse, Miami looking to book hotel rooms for the ACC championship, not try to put the cart in front of the horse too much there, but Miami with a grinded out win. Then Texas A&M with a unbelievable game, an immaculate game. Garrett Nussmeyer, which I was high on, didn't have his best game. Threw 3 picks. Marcel Reed, wow, what a performance out of that kid! Just electric. He threw 2 passes for 70 yards. Big play potential there. Texas A&M ran the shit out of the ball. And then also another wanted to shout out one of the guys that's got a kid there um, hanging out is Matt McChesney. Trey Zune came from his gym, and what in the world? What can I say about that kid? The kid played out of his mind. What a baller! Um, that is, that's what they do up there at 60 Academy, 60 Equipment. Give Matt McChesney a follow. Give him a shout out. Trey Zune. That's what happens when you trust the process and the training program. Uh, you know, Texas A&M is totally a different team than what they were at the beginning of the year. That team looks totally different from when they played Notre Dame at the beginning of the year. Brian Kelly, the same struggles when it's coming down to it, coming down to the wire. So this is what we're looking at. But Nussmeyer did throw for 405 yards. He threw the ball. They had 50 attempts. That's a lot of passing of the football. 400 yards for a loss. I get it. They were behind. One of the books did not like BYU on the road. I find that interesting. Um, Very, very interesting. I cannot understand that one. I don't know why, but BYU comes out with a win and gets it going. Notre Dame rolls Navy as expected. You know, a lot of people were high on Navy. Maybe they had a chance, maybe they didn't. But Notre Dame just has way too much talent on the outside to for Navy to compete with. And then you had the offensive stats were really that jumping off the page again for this week for Notre Dame. But like Miami, they just keep on winning. Riley Leonard was 13 to 21 for 178. Navy turned the ball over a bunch. What can you say? Then you got Washington, Indiana. The Hoosiers on a roll. Everybody is loving Signetti. It's just the Kirk Signetti train is running. A lot of people want to doubt on Indiana's schedule, but who has really played a tougher schedule than Indiana? I wouldn't say their schedule's been super tough. They only play who's scheduled. The non-con was not very good, but they're beating Big Ten teams and they're beating them up. They beat Nebraska up pretty good. And then Alabama rolls Missouri. I don't think anybody was shocked there. Ole Miss puts it on Oklahoma, which was very, very interesting to me. The Sooners on offense, they got some major problems. New coordinator, first time calling plays, but when you're Oklahoma, and for years they wanted to argue that the Big 12, they wanted to say that they could always compete in the SEC. Well, you're looking at 1-4. Texas is doing pretty well, but just what it is. SMU sneaks out a overtime win against the Duke Blue Devils. So a lot of things transpired over the weekend, and it looks like my co-host is possibly maybe going to join me. And our producer, we got a new producer. His name's Ed, so we can take some of the burden off of Carter. If producer Ed could possibly fix the banners here, I'd hit something. I just pushing buttons and don't know what I'm doing. That's why we have a producer named Ed in the background. Ed also, he lives down by Carter. Carter takes him lunch every now and then. But producer Ed is in the background, and Carter's going to be jumping on momentarily. But getting on to the Washington, Indiana. We'll go over some numbers on that. And yeah, there we go. We got producer Ed working now. He only works for ham sandwiches and fried bologna. But I didn't think Indiana's defense played overly great. Their quarterback play, the Jackson kid, 11 for 19, 124, made enough plays to win the game. But the one thing that has been constant with Indiana is they have been running the shit out of the football. That has been their constant, their mainstay. Everything that they've been able to do has been, the solid ground attack for them. So at the beginning here, we got, the Ellison kid and Lawton, Indiana, their one kid had, Ellison had 29 carries. So, I mean, those are some big time carries. That's Big Ten football. Nothing more, nothing less than that. And then one game that I wasn't trying to gloss over, but I missed it because it's not in my notes here, that I thought was going to be which was a bigger game than what people thought. The Colorado Buffaloes get it done against the Cincinnati Bearcats. Colorado played smothering defense. Shedeur Sanders, interesting stat here. 323, 25 of 30, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers. Colorado ran the shit out of the football. Travis Hunter, Jeremy Horn Jr., Wester all had great games. Colorado didn't get after the quarterback, but as much as they wanted to, they made Cincinnati turn the ball over. Um, Cincinnati, going to play at Folsom, 8:30 kick. That's a 10:30 East Coast time. Playing out there, it's loud, it's dark. A night game, loud, cold, um, altitude. I think Colorado has what Colorado, BYU, Utah. A lot of those teams that play in the elevation have a unique advantage on some of the teams. So I'm just saying, don't let Colorado get hot. The Buffaloes look look just as good as anybody in the Big 12. The Kansas State was one of the favorites to win the conference. So we can't sleep on Colorado as some might want to. We just got to see it a little bit more. If they can keep progressing each week, I don't think Colorado. They're a dark horse to make the college football playoff, in my opinion. A dark horse just to possibly get it done. Deion Sanders has, kind of done a phenomenal job turning that program around from 1-11 to bumping it all the way up to they're already bowl eligible before November. So Colorado is trending, but not to bury the lead too much. We are going to dive into the Ohio State Nebraska game. Some of the quick takeaways: Raiola turned it over late. That is as expected. One of the major concerning things I thought was Ohio State couldn't run the football at all. All offseason, the only thing I heard about was Quinshawn Judkins, Trevion Henderson is what I heard all offseason. The best running back room in America. You could have the best running back room in America, but you ain't got the guys up front that can get the ball rolling. It's kind of interesting. Will Howard almost outrushed both of them. So I know they averaged Quinshawn 2.9 yards a carry and Trevion 2.5 yards a carry, and Will Howard was 1.8 yards per carry. It's I seen Zach Smith over there at Minnesota Sports has I believe he's posted the answers in the coach's film room. So I'm gonna go dive into that a little bit later on tonight after I get done with this. I didn't think Ohio State's defense played too terribly bad. They ended up getting after Raiola a little bit, 3 sacks, but one of the big things that Nebraska tried to keep a lid on it is Carnell Tate had a pretty big game. J.J. Smith caught another touchdown. Just big plays out of those guys is pretty much what the difference makers were. And for what they had going into the game, for all intents and purposes, Ohio State got to get better on third down. Can't go 1 for 10 on third down. That is just an absolute killer. You got J.J. Smith as billed as one of the top players in college football, and you're 1 of 10 on third down. That's just not getting it done. And I'm not calling to say we need to fire everybody. I'm just saying that in a certain place you gotta be more efficient on third down if you expect to win games. Running the football is what it is. Nebraska dominates the time of possession. 35 minutes to Ohio State's 24 minutes. 1 turnover. That's not going to get it done. That's not going to get it done either. Can't turn the ball over because as the college football season progresses and you get into the playoffs, those possessions are super impactful, super meaningful. Um, and Nebraska's penalties were seven for 62. Ohio State was 3 of 36. Um, and I know a big talking point coming out of this week the uh, was the targeting call on Arvel Reese. Um, as the rule reads, I'm not a rule expert. I'm just gonna say this: if it's forcible contact to the head and neck area, it is what it is, and that's what they called. And also, Buckeye fans throwing shit on the field. You know what they did in Vandy? They put a net up. Don't think that's not out of the realm of possibility. All those Coors Lights you like to buy at games, the Big Ten can revoke your alcohol privileges. Let's not forget about that. I'm sure if the SEC can do it, the Big Ten can do it. Throwing shit on the field is not going to fix a call. It's not going to solve any problems. And the negative connotation about Buckeye fans when you do throw the shit on the field is what proves it even more. So don't do that. It's not really that hard. Whether you agree or disagree with the targeting, they're going to call what they're going to call, and that's what it is at the end of the day. The I just yeah, Carter's going to be possibly joining us in a few minutes. He's got some things he's got to get done before he can possibly hop on. But Buckeye fans, you can't be doing that. It's not. I get it. Indiana blows them out the week before. And did you think that Nebraska, a Matt Rule coach team, they didn't get exposed. They got exposed for having a bad offensive line. So, yeah, okay. Well, what does the offensive line have to do with going 1 for 10 on third down? Explain that one, because I'd like to hear that. Explain that 1 for 10 on third down. I believe that not all of them were run plays. I don't believe so. More on the team stats. Raiola was 21 of 32 for 152 yards. So that's what that is. And they didn't really give up anything too promising on the defensive side of the ball, but 1 for 10 on third down. I don't think that is a good stat to have, and the offense didn't really do anything too meaningful. I hate the transitive property thing, but Indiana put up 56 points against Nebraska, so the $20 million roster struggled with that. That's all I'm looking at as far as that goes. Will Howard 13 of 16 for 221 yards. That is an interesting stat line, to say the least. JTT, they didn't get exposed by Raiola. They got exposed for having a bad offensive line. What are you talking about? I'm talking about third down. That's what I'm talking about. 1 for 10 on third down. That's what I'm talking about. So, pretty interesting. Nebraska didn't look like world beaters. Yeah, that is right. They did run the ball for only 64 yards with two of the top, and the defense did play great. I'm not going to argue with you on that one. The defense did play great. It's just When they needed it most on third down, they couldn't get anything done. 1 for 10 on third down. And they have a left tackle issue. That is the problem, because we can go through the play sequence on this. It just, they got stonewalled. Ohio State punted, and the field goal kicking also is another issue. Ryan Day says that they have confidence in Jaden Fielding to make field goals. If history tells you anything, 2022 Georgia, I don't think I would want to be relying on a field goal kicker to win me a game. I would just want to win the game outright if it's up to me. But the it it's telling that you spent all this money in NIL and you still have holes on the offensive line. I don't know who's going to play left tackle. That is going to be an interesting endeavor, I think, because I think you might see two or three guys out there at left tackle. Because Mikulski just did not look good. He got beat up pretty good out there. It just, we're Ohio State is trending in a strange time. I would have thought maybe Carson Hinsman would have got a look out there, but I'm not sure, and I don't know if is gonna if Zen's gonna start next week. I don't know, and I look at the roster and there's not a whole bunch of options. So with that being said, I don't know what you're gonna do as far as left tackle. Simmons getting hurt, very unfortunate, but you had 2 weeks off to figure this out, and some of our folks over there at Buckeye Scoop, Donovan Jackson is gonna play tackle. Luke Montgomery slides in at guard. I do believe that is what producer Ed is telling me behind the scenes. So Donovan Jackson going from guard to tackle, that's going to be pretty interesting. And Montgomery's sliding in there. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see how this pans out. But I'm of the belief. I don't think I would want to be worried about having an unfor-sure offensive line going into the Penn State week. I get it, Aller might be out, but that's what we got rolling here. So that's a perfect segue to reset the show. This is the Andre Duke Show with Carter Smith. Carter presumably might be out today. So with that being said, please hit the like and subscribe button and turn on the bell notification so you know whenever we go live. So you can catch the show. We try to go 5-6 days a week, normally around 7. Saturdays are the exception. If everybody can make it, unlike me this weekend. So with that being said, just please hit the like and subscribe button to kick us up the algorithm. We are trying to grow this show as much as possible. So talking about the games next week, Boise State and Gentry are going to be taking on San Diego State. Mountain West action on Friday night. That kick is who knows when, 8:00, so it's before 10. So you possibly get to see the guy that's in the running for the Heisman Trophy. that being said, and then you have some of the bigger matchups. You have Penn State taking on Ohio State, Miami, Duke, Ole Miss, Arkansas. If I'm an Ole Miss fan, I don't know if I like that. Army taking on Air Force, uh, Minnesota taking on Illinois, Oregon, Michigan. That's going to be an interesting game. Then you got Florida, Georgia. You got Texas Tech, Iowa State, Indiana, Michigan State, Kansas State, Houston. A&M travels to South Carolina. That's a very interesting matchup. Louisville goes to Clemson. And for some late night flavor, you've got Tennessee and Kentucky. And then it rounds itself out with Pitt SMU, which is a big thing going on. And then we have the Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the New York Football Giants. As long as Pittsburgh doesn't beat themselves, they should win the game because the Giants might be the second worst team in all of football. But it would be the most Pittsburgh Steelers thing ever to do is to go out and lose. So, but diving into Penn State, Ohio State, a lot of question marks. Is Drew Aller gonna play? I don't know. They're saying it's a game time decision. James Franklin is not going to. Franklin's not going to allow any of that to slip by the wayside. I don't think that. I don't think that we'll get a definite answer or anything like that. Nebraska got exposed in the red zone. Dylan Raiola missed his receivers. I saw that. Is that what got exposed? No, the offensive line, third down. Ohio State 1 for 10 on third down. So I don't know. I mean, Indiana completely thrashes and trashes Nebraska, and Ohio State has to eke out a win at home. Really strange dynamic to me. It was not on my bingo card for this week. But the Ohio State 3.5-point favorites on the road. I don't know. I think if Drew Aller plays, it's going to be an interesting endeavor. We'll just have to see as far as that goes. The big thing that would worry me is Donnie Jackson playing left tackle. You got to keep Will Howard upright. That is where he is most productive. With that being said, Penn State Abdul Carter is the big question mark this week. If you can't block him, it's going to be a long day at the office for Ohio State not being able to block Abdul Carter. But I think, with having tackle issues, having left tackle being an issue, possibly, I could see Brian Kelly moving the pocket, keeping Will Howard moving around. That would be the big thing that I would try to do, get him in some sprint out, a lot of those situations so Penn State just can't pin their ears back. And you got to run the football better. It's pretty telling whenever I see or hear somebody like Kirk Barton getting animated on the podcast and having a cow about how bad the offensive line is. And, I get it. A ton of Buckeye fans want to run Justin Fry out of town, but that's the same thing they wanted to do with Stud. They ran him out of town, and the recruiting got, I don't know if it's worse or better, but I think a lot of it comes down to development at the offensive line position. they lost out on some big time recruits too. You forget about the David Sanders and the Petty kid going to Virginia Tech. So we shall see where it pans out for the Buckeyes going into this week. And also, regardless of what anybody's got to say, is how in the world is everybody okay with this being a game at noon? I just do not get that. I mean, I get it. Fox wants to have no competition whatsoever, but Ohio State, Penn State, what is it? 3 versus 4 is better than Pitt, SMU. It's better than Kentucky, Tennessee. It's better than Clemson, Louisville, A&M, South Carolina. It's better than all those ranked games in prime time, in my opinion. But what do I know? Um, going down. This is another interesting game. Duke versus Miami. Manny Diaz, I believe, was fired from Miami at one point in time. This is an interesting matchup to see if Manny can possibly get his get back while Miami is rolling. Very unlikely. The Hurricanes 20-point favorites in this. It'll probably be 21-22 by the time kickoff happens. Miami pretty decent on defense. So, with that being said, the next matchup we got for next week at noon is Ole Miss, Arkansas. The Hogs here, I think Ole Miss is another team that is struggling at the offensive line position all the way around. So, if Arkansas can find a way to hang around in the game, I the Hogs might do it. They had a close one with Texas A&M a few weeks ago, and I hate the transitive property thing, but a lot of people are counting the Hogs out. Ole Miss is only favored by a touchdown, so I almost, with the Hogs being at home, making that noon game, uh, I kind of like the Hogs here against Ole Miss because Ole Miss is they're in that realm of where they've got to put up or shut up at this point in the season, particularly on the offensive side of the ball. If you're watching Monday Night Football, Joey Porter just came out and the crowd is going crazy in Pittsburgh. So, but I think that game has a lot of ramifications. Arkansas 5-3, Ole Miss 6-2. So I think we have big implications in that game because essentially if Arkansas wins that game, that could potentially end Ole Miss's season because I don't see any playoff team whatsoever making it with 3 losses. I don't think that's happening. So that is where we're at. I think Air Force gets rolled by Army this week as well. And then we have Illinois taking on Minnesota. Mr. Row Your Boat versus Burt Bielema. Both teams struggle with offense. Bielema got rolled last week by Oregon. So that could be a non-interesting matchup. But the first 3:30 game that I find very interesting is Michigan Oregon. What does big brain Dan Landing have up his sleeve for this weekend? Oregon is 14.5-point favorites. They got to go on the road, come into the East Coast. Well, not East Coast, but Eastern time zone. And we have Michigan taking them on in the big house. So with that being said, I'm just looking at it from a gambler's point of view, I like the Oregon in the points. I think there's way too much firepower with Oregon rolling, and I just don't think Michigan, especially if no Will Johnson, and if they were throwing bombs on Ohio State like they were in Outson, could be a long day at the office for Sharon Moore in Michigan. So the next matchup we got is, I hate to call them the upstart, but the upstart Florida Gators are taking on Kirby and the Dogs. They are 17-point dogs. I don't know what we got cooking up here, but we're gonna have DJ Lagway probably taking on one of the top defenses in the nation, a freshman quarterback taking on the Gators. They played Tennessee tough. They got beat by A&M at home, but I think Florida has a puncher's chance in this. Could they upset the apple cart? Doubtful, but who's seen them going into Tennessee, going into Neyland, and punching Tennessee in the face and taking that game to overtime? Nobody's seen that coming. Everybody thought they were going to get rolled, and they are still playing hard for Billy Napier. I know my co-host Carter disagrees. He thinks this is the worst Florida team in years, but I disagree. I think that this may be the best 5-7 team in the nation when it's all said and done. Texas Tech, Iowa State. Yeah, probably not watching that. Just reality of the situation. Because Texas Tech is horrendous on defense. Indiana. This point total is going up. The Hoosiers. I don't know I believe Rourke is going to be back for this, taking on Sparty up there in East Lansing. Hopefully Indiana does not get beat up after the game. Hopefully there is no post-game fisticuffs with either Michigan University this weekend, because it is just bad for the game. It's interesting. Every time Michigan State play, there's always just some type of bullshit that happens. To be honest, I'm just kind of over it. I get it, it's a rivalry game, but why are you gonna go punch somebody that has a helmet on with your fist? You're a fucking idiot, but whatever. So with that being said, I like Indiana in this game. I just think Indiana's got way too much firepower on offense, and the Child's kid is a turnover machine. So that's where I'm at on Indiana, Michigan State. The reality of the situation: Houston taking on K-State. K-State will probably roll them at home. And that was fast. That was really fast. Russ leads the boys down the field. Touchdown. Stillers up. Going to be 7-0. Oh, that just got taken back. Thank you, referee. Texas A&M at South Carolina. The line has moved a little bit, moved a whole point. Yep, of course, Broderick Jones. Awesome. Yeah, good stuff, Broderick. Taking points off the board. Yep, you grab his face mask. So that's that. I'll be interested to see who starts for Texas A&M. I think they're a compelling story. Mike Elko, first year, a lot of people were kind of down on him at the beginning, but the one thing that they did was they went to the Reed kid, and he played a hell of a game between him and Wagman. I just don't think that you're looking at an unobtainable goal here. I know Texas A&M is looking; they are staring down the barrel. I mean, they're 5-0 in the SEC. They're sitting on top of the SEC. So, uh, Mikel Reed, this is a um, kid has got some spot work, and I don't think that I don't think it's unfair to say that Texas A&M is probably a little out of the realm of possibility. They're a big outside chance here, but as long as they keep winning, on they are on brand. They are cruising towards a huge game against Texas. Um, Texas A&M has got South Carolina. They got to win this week on the road. South Carolina, 7:30 start. That's going to be a pretty compelling match. They got New Mexico State, Auburn. Got to go to Jordan Hare. Who knows what Auburn is going to be that week? As Jeffrey Wright said on the MPW Digital post game, Hugh Freeze's narcissism has reached to the heights of where he is publicly telling people that he has diarrhea. Not my words, his words. So apparently Hugh Freeze had extreme diarrhea. That's why he did not travel with the team. I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with Hugh Freeze. I'm not too concerned with his bowel movements as long as he calls great plays, I guess, for Auburn. I don't know. It's just that was a really strange thing that we were having Hugh Freeze stomach ache announcements. But anyway, moving on, the Cards take on Clemson. A lot of people were down on Clemson at the beginning of the year. I think Clemson was a stock that you bought and you held on to it. Clemson was one of those you didn't know what you were getting, and it's really hard to pass judgment and kind of, in my opinion, on teams after week one. They played Georgia, got blown. They got beat like 34-3 against Georgia. Couldn't hardly do anything on offense. Georgia's offense, yeah, Nebraska did get mollywopped by Indiana, and Ohio State struggled to run the ball on them. That's what we were talking about earlier. But Clemson, yes, definitely. I think they've kind of turned it around to a certain extent. Yeah. Oh, you're all good, man. Welcome to the show. If this is your first time, we have breaking news. Breaking news from Thamilton. Pete, I have a Thamilton. Michigan quarterback Jack Tuttle announces he's retiring, citing a fifth concussion, wanting to prioritize his health. He's a former quarterback at both Utah and Indiana. I think OSU was exposed by Oregon first on the defensive side of the ball because they Oregon threw it deep on them. So Michigan is down a quarterback. I don't know if that really helps their cause or what that does to their quarterback room. We might have to go get somebody, or might just start having tryouts in the underneath the bleachers at the big house at this point. But anyway, Jack Tuttle retires. Interesting that we were doing that. He must have got told he's not going to be the starter. So it is going to be an Alex Orgy party or Davis Warren or whatever guy they're trotting out there next. But anyway, back to Clemson, Louisville. I like Clemson here. Louisville coming on the road. It's gonna be tough sled for them. But if you guys have questions, throw them down in there. I expect Warren with orgy packages. Yes. I would definitely expect that. Or orgy packages. That's probably something P Diddy is expecting as well. Um, we definitely like Clemson in this matchup. But if you guys have questions, keep throwing them in there. Please hit the like and subscribe button. We will restart the show here in a second when we get to the top of the. We got two more games to get through, and then we'll do like the last 10 minutes questions only from you guys in the chat. Um, real quick, we've got Kentucky. Kentucky, Tennessee. My co-host Carter, who's out today, he went to Kentucky for a little bit. Loved every minute of it. We can roll with this. Do you think Norvell is a must fire and go for Dion? No, I don't think that, because of everything that's going on with the House and the NCAA and all of the big uh to-dos that are coming on, with the $20 million that they got to figure out for the revenue sharing. I don't think, if I have a coach with a big buyout, because I don't know what my budget's going to be, I don't think I would want to roll the dice or even rock the boat, um, as far as trying to leverage something or kick the can down the road, because you don't know what you're going to have. Florida is in the same boat. Um, yes and no. The problem I have, I don't think that getting rid of Napier solves your problems. I think it's a timeline thing, because you're going to have to hire somebody that's not in the college football playoff. And let's just say Cignetti is going to be the hot name. Kirk Cignetti's not going to get as many job offers as what you think he's going to be. It's because he's 63 years old. Um, I think age plays a huge factor in when it comes to hiring these coaches. They all want to hire Dan Lanning. They want to hire a 40 something. Like, look at Kirby when he got the Georgia job. Kirby was, just barely 40 years old. They want to hire a young, energetic coach. Same thing. That's why, you don't have a lot of older coaches getting top flight offers, because these athletic directors want to hire the new, young, and upcoming thing. That is what we got rolling on. I just don't think that if let's just spitball this idea and say that, let's say Indiana gets in the playoffs and your Florida State your um your anybody that wants to hire somebody that's not in the college football playoff. Well, it's going to be hard, because the signing day is the 4th of December, I believe. And then the college football playoff doesn't start until, I believe, December 20th. And so if you make a deep run in the college football playoff and you're an existing coach on a staff, you're gonna turn down the opportunity to go on a run with the team that you've been coaching all year through the longest college football season that's known to man, and just check out and say, you know what? Sorry, fellas, I gotta go. I gotta go check out my new school. And also, uh, with if they can get something figured out with the transfer portal, um, you're only going to have so many of that window to go. And then if you show up after the college football playoff, which that's going to be in January, you're going to be trying to roll spring ball, and you're not going to have a relationship built with any of your teams. So you're realistically, if you take a job and you're in the college football playoff, you're going to be starting 3 to 4 months behind, just based off the calendar itself. So the signing classes are going to be done, or unless you take it and don't go with your team to the college football playoff, which I think that's kind of bush league myself, but yes, Richie, for popping in. Yes, Jack Tuttle did retire. We did. Thamilto dropped that on his Twitter. I've been doing a better job of paying attention to Twitter while I'm doing the show. Um, so that is where we're at so far. Um, just trying to see if I missed anything else. Um, but yeah, that's where we're at for the most part. Appreciate everybody rolling out tonight. Carter was, he was out tonight, so he'll be back Wednesday. We're gonna have Richie on this week. Um, he'll be on tomorrow, and then I believe Thursday we're going to have Megadon on Thursday, uh, or Mechadon on Thursday at 7:30. Seeing what he's got to offer, and he was just on Big Noon Kickoff. He did a performance on Big Noon Kickoff. Big Ohio State guy sells some merch and all of that good stuff. So it is a going to be a wild few weeks, and we've had some pretty good growth throughout the show. That's why we've bumped it up. Um, so, in back to where I was at before I got a little sidetracked. If you have any questions, throw them in there, and we can keep them. We can keep it rolling. Pitt SMU, SMU 7.5 point favorites. I like SMU, especially at home. So that's a pretty big matchup ACC wise. And the problem the ACC is going to have real quick is that, let's say SMU wins this game, SMU technically could be left out of the ACC championship game if Clemson runs the table and if Miami runs the table. So that makes it a very eerily thing. Me and Carter had a pretty good discussion about this playoff topic because a lot of projecting and a lot of shaking of the table right now. It's going to be interesting if SMU gets left out at 1-11 from the college football playoff, because that means you would probably have to put a 2-loss team in there, and if BYU wins the Big 12, you could have their only loss being to the Big 12 champion, and I think SMU has every right to argue to be in the playoffs, especially if they don't make the ACC conference championship game, because I don't think you can put yes, sir. That is exactly what we're talking about. Is yes, Pitt SMU has huge implications, just for the simple fact of, if Pitt keeps it rolling, that means the game that I'm going to November 16th, Pitt Clemson, is very, very huge. Pitt Clemson, I got to buy some tickets for that, but I'm going to be in Pittsburgh that weekend. I don't think I have any Pitt fans watching, but anybody in the Pittsburgh area, I'm going to be in Pittsburgh all that weekend, going around doing some stuff. So, but be at the Steelers game too. So yeah, Pitt SMU, probably one of the bigger games this weekend. Kentucky is just struggling, but outside of Pitt SMU, I would say South Carolina A&M is the other big game that we got rolling this weekend as far as playoff implications. Outside of Penn State, Ohio State. But that's just something that we got rolling here, and a lot of the Ohio State faithful, they get pretty upset when you say anything bad about the Buckeyes. But it is interesting because I've seen a lot of people talking about about how they were talking bad about Texas fans, which is unbelievable because Ohio State fans were throwing shit on the field too. So it is what it is. But we do have there's something about this Ole Miss Arkansas game that I think I might call the Hogs and take the Hogs in that game. Some people, that may be an unpopular opinion, but I think the Hogs can catch lightning in the bottle at home. Noon start, sleepy noon start. Ole Miss has had a couple bad sleepy noon games. Kentucky was also uh, like that. Ohio State not looking good. 9-3 looking likely. Maybe, I don't know. They got to play Indiana. Um, they got to win. They got to win this week, and then that Indiana game, the implications on that are huge. And a lot of the Ohio State people have said, "I turned your show off when you said Indiana was for real." Well, we're about to find out in a couple of weeks, and to be honest, I can't wait because a lot of the teams that we're trying to figure out and we're trying to find out what they are, it is an interesting endeavor what we got going here. And you can scoff and laugh in Indiana, but they dismantled Nebraska and Ohio State. It took them 4 quarters. All right, we got another one here. Ole Miss is like the number one in ball control, but still have struggled. Yes, Ole Miss has struggled. Because I think they struggle up front. Their offensive line has had issues all year. It's just something that Ole Miss has not been able to. They haven't. They've realistically have been. They've won a lot of close games last year, and realistically, Ole Miss hasn't won a lot of close games this year. You got the Kentucky loss. You got the LSU loss. But when you're going into LSU at night, it's probably arguably the toughest the toughest environment to play in college football. It is not. That is no joke. But I get it. The Buckeye fan base is a huge. It is a huge fan base, but don't throw stuff on the field. That's all I gotta say. Don't throw stuff on the field. Not a good look. Um, with that being said, we're getting ready to wrap the show up unless anybody's got any other questions. But we made it almost an hour tonight. The Steelers are going to kick another field goal for some odd reason, which is very, very interesting. Red zone struggles. And then if I can think of it, producer Ed, where is the live show going to be? I forgot to put that in my notes. If our producer is back there to give you guys but just keep an eye on producer has hit the coffers. The Cigarillo Lounge in Hubbard, Ohio. It is going to be December 12th or December 7th at noon. December 7th at noon in Hubbard, Ohio. The Cigarillo Lounge, I believe. They're in Hubbard, Ohio. I probably just butchered that name, but that is that. What days do I normally stream? Yeah, Richie's got it right here. We're going to be at this lounge in Hubbard, Ohio, December 7th is when we're going to be there. And for what days that we normally stream, we normally go Monday through Friday, and then we try to catch a stream as long as everybody can get together on Saturday. It'll be all three of us on the stream. But this is the Andre Duke Show with Carter Smith. Appreciate everybody watching, listening, commenting. Appreciate the questions in the bio, all of our stuff. If you want to follow us on social media, we're going to I think we're gonna make producer Ed run the Twitter account. And yes, we're working on another cigar lounge too. So if you're in that area, want to come smoke cigars, have some bourbon, it is what we got rolling. The Andre Duke Show with Carter Smith. With that being said, please hit the like and subscribe button and turn on the bell notifications. With that being said, everybody have a good night.